Sunday morning, November 19th, 2023, St. Matthew's Episcopal Church, Harmony Falls, Virginia. The choir is rehearsing Amazing Grace, when soprano Chen hits a note so pure, so perfect, that it brings tears to the congregation's eyes. But in exactly 47 minutes, that same voice would be silenced forever. And the person who killed her? Someone she trusted completely. Someone she called sister. Someone who had been sitting right beside her in the choir loft for over 3 years. This is the story of how jealousy, betrayal, and a secret affair turned a house of worship into a crime scene, and how a community's most trusted voices became suspects in cold-blooded murder. St. Matthew's Episcopal Church has stood at the heart of Harmony Falls for over 150 years. Its Gothic spires reach toward heaven, and its stained glass windows cast rainbow patterns across wooden pews that have witnessed generations of prayers, weddings, and funerals. But what made St. Matthew's truly special wasn't its architecture, it was its choir. 24 voices that could move even the most skeptical souls to tears. The choir was led by director Marcus Webb, 45, a classically trained musician who had transformed St. Matthew's from a small community choir into one of the most celebrated church choirs in Virginia. Under Marcus's direction, the choir had recorded 3 albums, performed at the Kennedy Center, and attracted members from all over the county. People drove hours just to hear them sing. But success had created something unexpected within the sacred walls: competition. And competition, as we'll discover, can be deadly. At the heart of this story are 3 women whose lives were about to collide in the most tragic way possible. Meet Chen, 28, the choir's lead soprano. With a voice that could reach notes most singers only dream of, Sarah was the undisputed star of St. Matthew's. Sarah worked as a music teacher at Harmony Falls Elementary, but her true passion was the choir. She lived and breathed music, spending every free moment at the church, practicing, perfecting her craft. Then there was Margaret Maggie Thompson, 34, the choir's alto section leader. Maggie had been at St. Matthew's for 8 years, longer than anyone except Marcus himself. Maggie owned the local flower shop and had been the choir's unofficial leader before Sarah arrived 3 years ago. She organized social events, managed schedules, and was considered the mother hen of the group. Finally, there was Rebecca Martinez, 31, the choir's newest member. Rebecca had joined just 6 months earlier, bringing with her a mysterious past and a voice that could harmonize perfectly with anyone. What connected these 3 women was more than music. They had become best friends, spending time together outside of choir practice, supporting each other through life's challenges. But beneath the surface of their friendship, tensions were building. Because at St. Matthew's, being the featured soloist meant everything. And only one person could stand in the spotlight. The trouble started in September 2023, 2 months before Sarah's murder, when Marcus Webb announced that St. Matthew's had been selected to perform at the Virginia State Cathedral's Christmas Eve service. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to perform before thousands of people and showcase their talent on a statewide broadcast. But there was one catch. The performance would feature a single soloist singing the traditional Ave Maria, and Marcus would choose that soloist based on a series of auditions. For the first time in 3 years, Chen would have to compete for the spotlight she had grown accustomed to. September 15th, the first round of auditions. Church security cameras show the 3 friends arriving together, laughing and supporting each other. But their body language tells a different story. Sarah appears confident, almost cocky. Maggie looks determined but nervous. Rebecca seems withdrawn, clutching sheet music like a lifeline. What happened during those auditions would plant the seeds of murder. Sarah's audition was flawless. Her voice filled the sanctuary with such beauty that several choir members were moved to tears. Maggie's performance was technically perfect, showcasing years of experience and deep, but Rebecca's audition shocked everyone. Her voice had a haunting quality that seemed to transform the very air in the church. Even Marcus was visibly moved. For the first time in 3 years, Sarah Chen was not the obvious choice. October 2023, the month before the murder. While the choir continued their regular practices, something was changing in the dynamics between the three friends. Church security footage reveals a pattern of secretive meetings and whispered conversations. October 8th, cameras show Rebecca and Marcus staying after practice, alone in the sanctuary for over an hour. When questioned later, both claimed they were working on music arrangements. October 15th, Sarah is seen following Rebecca home after practice, parking across the street from her apartment for 30 minutes before driving away. October 22nd, Maggie confronts Sarah in the church parking lot after practice. Security audio picks up fragments of their heated conversation. "You think you own this place, Sarah. But some of us have earned our spot here." "Earned? I've carried this choir for 3 years while you've just been existing." But the most shocking discovery came when police later analyzed Rebecca Martinez's background. Rebecca Martinez wasn't her real name. Her real name was Rebecca Santos, and she was fleeing a domestic violence situation in North Carolina. She had changed her identity and moved to Harmony Falls to escape an abusive ex-husband. But there was more. Rebecca was also fleeing a scandal at her previous church, where she had been accused of having an inappropriate relationship with the married choir director. A pattern was emerging, and Marcus Webb was about to become part of it. November 10th, 2023, 9 days before Sarah's murder. A church janitor making his evening rounds discovers something that would shatter the St. Matthew's community. In Marcus Webb's office, behind a locked door that supposedly contained only sheet music and choir records, the janitor finds Rebecca Martinez and Marcus in a compromising position. The affair had been going on for 2 months, ever since Rebecca's stunning audition. But this wasn't just about romance, it was about guaranteed solo positions and preferential treatment. Marcus Webb was married with 2 young children. His wife, Linda, was a beloved Sunday school teacher at St. Matthew's. The scandal would destroy not just his career, but his entire family. The janitor, conflicted about what he had witnessed, made a fateful decision. Instead of reporting the affair to the church leadership, he told the one person he thought could handle it discreetly. He told Sarah Chen. November 12th, Sarah confronts Marcus about the affair. Church security cameras show them in a heated discussion in his office after choir practice. What the cameras don't capture is Sarah's ultimatum: end the affair and give her the Christmas Eve solo, or she would expose everything to the congregation and Marcus's wife. Marcus had 48 hours to decide. But Sarah made one crucial mistake. She assumed she was the only one who knew about them. Maggie Thompson had been suspicious for weeks and had been conducting her own investigation. She had photographs, recorded conversations, and documented evidence of the inappropriate relationship. And Maggie had a very different plan for how to use this information. Sunday, November 19th, 2023. The day that would end in murder began with the peaceful sounds of morning worship at St. Matthew's. 9 a.m. early service begins. The choir performs beautifully, giving no hint of the drama unfolding behind the scenes. 10:15 a.m., between services, the 3 women meet in the choir room to prepare for the 11 a.m. service. Security cameras show what appears to be a normal, friendly interaction. But audio enhancement later reveals a very different conversation. "I know about Rebecca and Marcus. And I know you know too, Maggie. We all have our secrets, Sarah. The question is what we do with them. Please, we can work this out. We're friends." 10:45 a.m., the second service begins. The choir takes their positions in the loft just as they, but this time, Maggie Thompson had brought something extra in her choir folder. Something that wasn't sheet music. 11:30 a.m., during the offertory, as the congregation's attention is focused on the altar, something happens in the choir loft that no one immediately notices. Sarah Chen suddenly stops singing mid-note. Her music folder falls to the floor. She grips the railing of the choir loft, her face contorted in pain. Maggie, sitting directly behind her, continues singing as if nothing has happened. It takes 47 seconds before anyone realizes that Sarah has been stabbed. 11:31 a.m. Marcus Webb notices Sarah swaying dangerously at the choir loft railing. He stops conducting, his baton frozen in midair. Sarah collapses forward, blood staining her white choir robe. Screams echo through the sanctuary as congregation members realize what they're witnessing. In the confusion that follows, security cameras capture crucial evidence. While everyone else rushes to help Sarah, Maggie Thompson calmly places something small and sharp back into the weapon. A 4-inch letter opener shaped like a cross that she had received as a gift for her years of service to the church. Paramedics arrive within 6 minutes, but it's too late. Sarah Chen dies in the choir loft where she had sung so beautifully for 3 years, her blood staining the wood where generations of faithful had lifted their voices in praise. As police secure the crime scene, Maggie Thompson plays the role of the grieving friend perfectly. She cries, she comforts other choir members, she even helps police by remembering details about Sarah's recent behavior. But investigators quickly notice something strange. While everyone else in the choir loft is traumatized and shaken, Maggie seems almost relieved. Detective James Morrison had investigated dozens of murders in his 20-year career, but never one in a church during a service in front of 200 witnesses. The physical evidence was overwhelming. Sarah had been stabbed once, precisely between her ribs and into her heart. The attacker had medical knowledge of human anatomy. Maggie Thompson, it turned out, had been a nurse for 10 years before opening her flower shop. But what sealed Maggie's fate wasn't the physical evidence, it was the digital evidence. Phone records revealed that Maggie had been in contact with Sarah's ex-boyfriend in North Carolina, gathering information about her personal life. Email records showed Maggie had been planning to expose both the affair and Sarah's past relationship scandals to the entire congregation. But most damaging of all was a voice recording found on Maggie's phone from the night before the murder. She thinks she can waltz in here and take everything that should be mine. The solos, the respect, the recognition. Well, tomorrow she'll learn that some things are worth fighting for. November 25th, 6 days after the murder, Maggie Thompson is arrested during choir practice. As she's led away in handcuffs, the remaining choir members watch in shock. The woman they had trusted, the mother hen, who had organized their lives, was a cold-blooded killer. Today, St. Matthew's Episcopal Church still stands in Harmony Falls, but the choir loft remains empty. The remaining choir members couldn't continue. How do you sing about love, forgiveness, and faith when someone used those sacred moments to commit murder? Marcus Webb resigned in disgrace, his marriage destroyed, his career ended. Rebecca Martinez disappeared again, presumably starting over in another town with another name. Maggie Thompson was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. During her sentencing, she showed no remorse. In her final statement, Maggie said, "Sarah thought her voice was a gift from God. But she forgot that God gives and God takes away. Sometimes He just needs help." The church has installed a memorial plaque where Sarah used to stand in the choir loft. It reads simply, "Sarah Chen, her voice lives on in our hearts." But perhaps the most haunting reminder of this tragedy is the silence. Where once there was beautiful harmony, there is now only the echo of what was lost. Sarah Chen's murder reminds us that evil can hide behind the most sacred facades, that jealousy can poison even the purest environments, and that sometimes, the people we trust most are the ones capable of the greatest betrayal. The choir at St. Matthew's was known for their perfect harmony. But harmony requires more than beautiful voices, it requires hearts that truly sing together. Sarah Chen's voice was silenced by jealousy and betrayal. But her story continues to resonate, reminding us that in communities built on trust and faith, the betrayal of that trust becomes the greatest sin of all. If this story of sacred betrayal shocked you as much as it shocked the community of Harmony Falls, Subscribe to Crime Uncover for more investigations that reveal how jealousy and betrayal can destroy even the most trusted relationships. Because sometimes the most beautiful voices hide the darkest hearts.